Chardonnay friends. Well, what a night it has been. The Brexit Party have annihilated all the other parties, and both Emily Thornberry and Alistair Campbell have proven to the whole world that their density and stupidity is the only thing which is keeping planet Earth in orbit. If talking out of one's sphincter all night is a talent, they should be the star turns of the next Royal Command performance. Before I go further, I would like to issue a simple plea to the butthurt, violent Ramonas and libtards on the left. Please keep up the anger and your incandescent rage. That may sound like a stupid thing to say, but please hear me out. The more crazy and insane the left gets, the more that the right will win and win big in the future. The antics of the left are only showing people that they are the problem and not the far right. And when you consider that Trustpilot ratings for the mainstream media, which have caused a lot of these issues, is at its lowest point ever, then people are simply not believing the narrative and are slowly becoming alt-right by default. Personally, I have a saying that I didn't choose the alt-right, it chose me, and I'm glad that it did. Bullying people, doxing people, and threatening them and their families will only have the opposite effect, and you have to question the sanity of those in charge of the warring strategies of social justice. They must make General Melchett seem sane. Meh. Yet, time and time again, they stick to the same old tried and failed techniques of shaming and dog whistling, when people simply do not give a damn. No matter how crazy their plans are, from no white people being allowed to ban all jokes, ultimately these will all fail, as political correctness itself is the most politically incorrect thing that has ever been created. By banning people you disagree with, you simply automatically have the other side win by default. So, congratulations libtards, you've handed victory to us on a plate. There is a Caspian Sea worth of salty tears forming, isn't there? Indeed, the left is already starting to eat itself, and it seems more content on controlling and policing its own members these days than going after those on the right, as if they got bored of that. They must fear an imminent collapse and mass exodus of their clan members. But any dumb society which is built on weak and wobbly rather than strong and stable, foundations, will never last. It follows the natural rules and laws of evolution that the most sensible and sane parts of society will always stand the test of time, and the more moronic elements will be cast asunder. As a case in point, look at the history of Catherine of Russia and the relic of Peter the Great. Personally, I think that those in social justice are simply lazy people who think that they're entitled to go down in folklore as somebody of worth. They are on the right side of history, as they keep trying to tell us. But perceptions about historical figures change over time. I mean, look, for example, at the recent furor about Winston Churchill and Cecil Rhodes' place in history by that wokest of MPs, or MSPs in this case, Ross Greer. Winston Churchill is a racist. What is to stop future generations from thinking that the social justice warriors of the present were just a bunch of white, privileged, lazy morons who were just desperate for attention and validation due to the lack of anything meaningful in their sad lives? The real social justice warriors, like Rosa Parks and William Wilberforce, and he was a white conservative, did all the hard work. The ones who today just want to hang on to their coattails and demand that we accept them and view them in the same category. The backlash against this culture has thankfully already begun, but there's still sites like Reddit and Phoebe which are stoking the SJW boiler room of hatred, and Phoebe itself is a crazy website. SJW Central, if you fancy a laugh, is some of the most easily offended people ever. I'll leave a link below. A friend of mine who is a bigger lady, no comment, introduced me to the website, and I was banned after 5 minutes for not agreeing with somebody on there who looked like Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog getting an anal probe. I'd love to see somebody like Count Dankula join up there, see how long he lasts. There are thoughts on there too who say that they're a catch. Well, if I was a Grimsby fisherman, I'd not want one of them in my net. It would probably break the bloody thing. Yep, there's about 100 fish jokes I could go, but I try to keep the content clean for the children's. Eventually, all this will come crashing down when people either get bored or social justice doesn't make enough money for those behind the moral panics. And we just have to put up with this for the time being, guys. We have to put up with people becoming ever more angry and stupid and brain dead. But once the left have enough support, they will know it's game over. And then what will they do with their sad lives when nobody's listening to them and the paradigm and narrative has gone over to the right? It's a long, slow, painful and ultimately pointless death they're facing. The sad thing is those frauds at the top of social justice don't believe in it. Do you think Al Sharpton and people like him care? No, they don't. These Neros at the top are fiddling while society burns. So keep up the stupidity, libtards. As a certain British supermarket says, every little helps. Shardley, friends.